for the genocidal war criminal. It's probably why they giggled like schoolgirls. Wait, really? Holy shit, that's crazy. I didn't expect that. I was wrong. That's crazy. I figured that they just assumed that they were fucking.
Panda, 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 panda. I got broads in Atlanta. Just to the lean, the family. Credit card.
Fucking idiots.
And there was just like 20 people in suits there.
Yeah.
The setup was already there. The both flags. We couldn't touch anything or move anything.
And they
I gotta
give you
gold
any
the boo-boo, yeah.
restrictions, Like, don't ask this.
I'll be honest. They gave us a paper with questions to ask, but they also said they kind of, they gave us a script to ask, but we didn't really follow it.
Yeah.
We tried our very best to ask some questions, but I think
personally, I like.
What's up, Hudson? Yeah, I wouldn't trust AF post on anything. Sorry, that's a Nazi outlet only fact. Please don't link that here. AF post is literally Nick Fuentes' thing. You know that only fact. Like, come on, bro. How do you people fall for this? You're posting Nazi shit. I've literally talked about that like 20 times. This is also why, like, when people got mad. Okay, listen. Here's a hot take about the AOC situation in which I disagree with, like, a lot of people. I don't think AOC is necessarily wrong to be like, hey, I don't want to ally myself with the Nazi, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Even though her thing is like, hey, I want to stop weapons to Israel. It's like, do you not care about the nefarious intent of what she's doing? She's not doing it because she cares about the genocide. And I almost feel like people have been like, well, Rashida Tlaib and all them signed it. It's like, yeah, that's fine. Okay, I get it. They're willing to push for it. I'm also not going to get mad at AOC for being like, hey, look, I don't want to fucking support the Nazi, I don't want to sign on to the Nazi bill because Marjorie Taylor Greene is a fucking Nazi. So AOC should say that. She did say that. She said that next. But I agree. Her first response was fucking terrible. It's disgusting. It's fucking stupid. You don't need to be like, oh, they need the Iron Dome to continue genocide. Yeah, that's fucking insane. I think she should have gone with her second statement, which she didn't, because she doesn't really care, I don't think. So she said, I want to protect the Nazis, though. I mean, I guess that's a way to interpret it, but yeah. So I don't know. I'd vote with MTG to get free healthcare. Yeah, that free healthcare comes with the fact that you have to kill all the Mexicans or something. That's how Nazis work. You know that, right? Like, the Nazis won people over by, like, promising to rebuild Germany and make it great. And all of the other shit was tacked on as time went on because they needed a scapegoat to blame people. That's why fascism, grabs hold, right? The first statement was like, Israel needs the fucking Iron Dome or some shit. And I was like, this is disgusting. But her second statement was like, why would I ally with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's a Nazi? And it's like, why didn't you just say that in the first place? I think that would have been like, all you had to say in the first place is like, I don't want to sign any bill with Marjorie Taylor Greene because I'm against Nazis. And I would have been like, okay, well, you know what? I think that's fair. Yeah. Yeah. Her saying it as her second post seems like damage control. I agree. I wish she would have just said it in the first thing because that's like a good statement to say. You know what I mean? I think if she had just come out and been like, I don't want to ally with Marjorie Taylor Greene because her intention is not to end the genocide, it's to further anti-Semitism and neo-Nazi rhetoric, I would have been like, okay, that's fine. People are like, oh, she's calling Rashida Tlaib a neo-Nazi or a sympathizer. It's like, no, it's like those people you know, are directly affected by this. Like Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar are like Muslim. Like there's a little bit difference in willing that they're doing anything to end it. Like you have the ability to be more nuanced, you know? So I don't know. I'm just not. I think it's. I am on the side of we need to combat Nazis at every single point. You know. But you can use that argument for anything. Then that's not true. No. Did the amendment have other Nazi shit in it? I think it's stupid to vote down free healthcare because self-interested people want it as well. The point is that you're giving it to them and you don't ever have to work with the Nazis. Like you don't. You don't ever have to work with the Nazis. Like you don't. They don't need anything. The whole point is for them to feel legitimized so that Marjorie Taylor Greene can tote it around that she worked together with other people. She reached across the aisle or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like that is the point of it. The point is for them to be like, hey, look, I got these people on board. This is an issue. Like it is an issue. I mean, this is where I differ from, you know, Bad Empanada and other people, Squirrel or whatever, is that I think I talked about this with Shira. Hassan has said this too. This is where Hassan and I agree. And this is why Hassan gets called a liberal Zionist by fucking insane people. Is like when the dust settles, one day it will settle. Do we just want to make anti-Semitism a bigger problem than it was before? Like, yeah, we understand that it's Israel's fault, what's happening. But do we want to like give credence to the Nazis just because they're like, hey, we need to end this genocide to do another one? Like, come on, you know? Like when the dust settles, I don't think we want to come out of this being like, well, now we have to be like, stop doing, you know, a Holocaust too, you know? There's a way to do it without just furthering Nazi intention, you know? Yeah, that's what I agree with, Magnet. That's what I agree with. I think that her reasoning was fucking stupid. Her first reasoning that she put out being like, we don't want to end defense. Like, okay, well, yeah, I'm fine with ending defense to Israel unless they make it a secular, you know, equal rights state, equal protection. Then they can have all the defense they want. But until then, why should we protect a nation doing fucking a genocide, you know? No, I want the self-interested people in America to free healthcare too. It's okay to vote with them to achieve that as long as the bill doesn't say only for white people. I agree with you, Bappy. I agree with you in the sense that Nazis get healthcare. The problem is you don't need the Nazis to do that because it will always come with the caveat of only for white people. It will, because they are Nazis. That is how they work. The Nazis gained power by doing exactly that, by appealing to as many people as they can with, how do you think Donald Trump gets elected? By populism, right? They may not say it in the beginning or in the outright, but as they build validity, they will eventually be like, yeah, we said free healthcare for white people. For white people. We said that. You don't need them, but just because they vote for it doesn't mean you shouldn't. No, you're right. But they didn't just vote for it. It was proposed by a Nazi. That's my point, right? I agree. If Marjorie Taylor Greene signs on to a bill proposed by Rashida Tlaib or Ilhan Omar or whoever, that's fine. I don't give a fuck. She wants health care too. The fact is she proposed it, you know? Yeah. I agree that had it not been proposed by her, I don't care. Yes, the Nazis can be like, I want free healthcare for everyone, right? They want the optics of thinking that she did it, you know, that she proposed it. You know what I mean? Yeah, why did it take a Nazi to create the proposal? Yeah, exactly. People should watch the Hitler speeches in English and see the parallels Trump firsthand. Not enough people actually educate themselves on the rhetoric used. Yeah, listen, I agree with you that Nazis deserve health care. You know, fascists deserve health care. But that doesn't mean that they should be the ones to propose it, because know that that shit will always come with strings. Also, chat. This is crazy. We were talking about the Shira. Shira yesterday had to go talk to the school about her nephew getting like hella bullied at school because her parents are like pro-Israel and have made their Lebanese grandchildren say pro-Israel things in a school full of like Lebanese people and Palestinians. Not really. They're kids. They don't know what they're saying, right? I just want to give you a very real thing that is occurring. Is Shira's step-parents, whatever, are Jewish, her stepdad. And these kids literally call him like slurs when he showed up. Like kids, like 10-year-olds. So for anybody who thinks anti-Semitism is not on the rise, I'm not saying it's leftist. Anti-Semitism is on the fucking rise, bro. Like it is brutal. And it's normalized by people because of what Israel is doing, obviously, but also because it's like, what do? Like there's too many people feeling emboldened by it as well, because they don't get pushback from people who are, or that claim to be for human rights. You know, it is. I am just worried that when the dust settles, the people going, oh, why should we care, are just now going to have to fight the battle in the other direction, not the other direction, but in a direction that they allowed to happen, you know? I'm not saying it's coming from the left, by the way. I think it's coming from everywhere. It is a fault of a genocide being carried out by Israel, you know? It's an endless bullwhip effect, but it doesn't have to be, you know? It doesn't have to be. It is the fault of genocide. This one's hard for me to grok because I think MTG would have gotten that much cut, but I'm willing to be wrong on that. I just think that stopping any aid to Israel is a good thing. I agree that stopping aid to Israel is a good thing, but that was dead in the water. It was dead in the water, and I still think it's a good principle to not support Nazi proposed bills. Does that make sense? That's my own personal, like, I agree that that's not what she said off the start, AOC's thing, but I get that sentiment, you know? On one side right now, it's starving kids, and the other is words. No excuse to let it happen, but in a weird hypothetical trolley problem, I would let the words slip to save babies. The nice thing about the world is it's not the trolley problem, right? You're inventing a scenario to justify the rise in anti-Semitism, that's the problem, right? Like, I get what you're saying. I understand that there's children dying. But when the dust settles, do you just want Jewish children to die because it's been normalized that it's okay, or no more Jewish children, right? I understand that isn't happening, but it did happen, and it is on the rise. Does that make sense? The normalization of all Jewish people are not because of the fault of leftists, but of Israel. That's what's getting normalized. This idea that all Jewish people are like Netanyahu, you know? No, we're not talking about the bill, but we're talking about the other thing. Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to the leftist part of this, that is ridiculous part of this Jewish exceptionalist discourse that has happened recently. People online who want to seem the most hardcore pro-Palestinian, I think they have to exclude any discussion on anti-Semitism in general. It's not helpful. It doesn't help Palestinians. Yeah, I agree. I think also there's this, you know what's funny? Leftists love to be like, hey, look, we don't live in a binary world. I say this too. But then they're like, hey, you can't mention anti-Semitism ever because that takes away from Palestinians. It's like, no, it fucking doesn't. No, it doesn't. It does not take away from Palestinians. The point is, what's happening to Palestinians is fucking terrible. We don't want it to happen when eventually all things end in the world. We don't want it to just all of a sudden start against another population of people. Okay? When the dust settles, we don't want it to just like start like an example, like remove Palestinians, remove, Israel, whatever. Imagine like America was doing like a Holocaust or a genocide towards like Mexico, right? And in the wake of that, like there's a lot more Latinos than there is American white people, right? There's a lot more. And it became normalized amongst all like Latino population that white people are barbaric savages that are monsters and don't deserve human rights and are terrible. So then the dust settles. America loses its war or genocide against Latinos, Mexico, and instead, in retaliation to that, America loses its grip. Whatever, the empire dies. And now, all white people live in cages or whatever, right? Because it's been so normalized. Because we can prevent that. I'm not saying it'll happen, but I'm saying that we can prevent or normalizing the treatment or shittiness. Not saying it happens overnight, but it happens over time, right? Anti-Semitism is the oldest bigotry in the world, I just think we got to be careful. That's it. I think treating everyone as if we always say like not everyone is it's not anti-Semitism, it's anti-Zionism. It's like, okay, well, if we're going to treat every Jewish person by the default that they're a Zionist, like that's bad. That's my point. You know what I mean? I get where some people are coming from, like how the ADL claim free Palestine are cases to tally, but it ignores actual growth, even if it's not you extending the humanity to address people who come from our side regardless. Yeah, I also think like it is also not a valid concern for, like here's not a valid concern for Israelis to be like, hey, if the Palestinians get free, they're going to do a genocide in the other direction. It's like, no, the fuck they're not. That's never happened in history. But someone on the outside might see a justification then to attack Israel because they're seen as a genocidal state. Right? Like you're going to justify, aggression towards you. Probably not from Palestinians because they want that land too. And those are your brothers and sisters. But it might come from somewhere else, because of a horrible action that you're doing. You know what I mean? Like blowback occurs in some way, I don't think it's going to be like Palestinians attacking you. That's bullshit. That's never happened in history. But I do think if you keep it up, and if you never do anything, people are going to see you as an unstable, horrible regime like they did the Nazis, Israel will be destroyed, essentially, or whatever, whatever state. It doesn't matter. I feel like this overcomplicates too much. It's simply a vote, regardless of who put forward. Oh, yeah, sorry. We've moved on a little bit, Manitoa. I agree. I agree with that sentiment as well. I think had AOC just come out and said her second statement first, people would be a lot less angry. But I also think it's like, I don't really care about getting mad at AOC, considering both her and Bernie have moved immensely on this issue. And they voted in favor of every legitimate piece of legislation, not proposed by, a Nazi, to end aid and everything, like track APAC had AOC at like ranked number 8 out of everyone, which is like pretty good, Did you see Anna Kasparian blow up? Yeah, I saw this on, I think on fucking TikTok this morning. She made a second statement. Yeah, she had a second statement about how Marjorie Taylor Greene's a neo-Nazi, and that's why she didn't support her. But it's like, you should have said that first. Like, I think everyone would have been like, hey, look, we get it. Or there would have been, more room for discourse. But instead, her first statement was like, anti-Semitism, or not, no, her first statement was like, the Iron Dome needs to exist. And it's like, yeah, okay. Whatever. Dumbass. It should be a completely uncontroversial thing to say anti-Semitism is bad and to anti-Semitism on the rise. The fact that either is a point of debate is all a bad sign and just dumb. I agree. I also, like I said, I had a chatter get mad at me for being like, hey, look, I'm not saying it's happening on Twitch, but I do think some people who are considered on the left are having a blind spot and calling out things and normalizing getting their news from or allying with people who are not free Palestine out of liberation, but because they're fucking Nazis, right? And so we just got to be a little more vigilant. And I don't think it's the fault of leftists or left communities. I think it's the fault that anti-Semitism is fucking blowing up, you know? And it's hard to vet every single news source and person you know. It's hard to be tapped in. Like, so many of my chatters didn't know about the noticing thing, you know? So many of my chatters didn't even know that was a thing. I think maybe I'm just online brain broken, but noticing or a noticer is an anti-Semitism thing, that you notice all the Jews. Like, I feel like any of my Jewish chatters know about this, right? Like, if you were Jewish, you probably have known about this. But yeah, that shit has been online since 2006, forever, you know? Or the parentheses. Yeah. There's a difference between noticing with a bunch of O's. That's some Zoomer shit about shipping. Noticing or a noticer, not nudicing, that's different. That's not anti-Semitism. But the noticing or just curious or just asking questions is quite literally like the Jewish question bullshit, right? Yeah. I don't know any of the shit you're talking about. Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Like, I'm not blaming you. It's just that this was the type of shit that like Nick Fuentes got popular off of, chat, right? There's never any discussion about anti-Arab sentiment too. Yeah, I agree. There's a little lack of like anti-Arab sentiment. I feel like the anti-Arab sentiment though has become like really weird. Like really weird. Like people are almost othering to a degree, you know, in like this weird way. Sometimes I also feel like that's fallen because of like the pro-Palestinian movement being so strong that it's like kind of drowned out a little bit. It's kind of a weird blowback situation. It was so incredibly normalized. Now it's like kind of like vaporizing. I don't know how to describe it, you know? So yeah, you don't want to make him out Russian. I get the asking question parts. That's a term I've heard. Yeah, noticing was a big one. Just asking questions. And another thing I'll tell you guys, if you see any account on fucking Twitter that is friend or AF, those are Nazis. Those are Nazis. Those are fucking Nazis, bro. Those are like, I don't know how to tell you this. That's fucking Nazis. Yeah, Clown World. People don't know that either. Clown World is also Nazis. Those are Nazis. Friend. No, not friend. Friend. Or anybody who says anon. Or, well, normie is kind of, it died, but it's kind of back. Normie was, it's like something we say too. Like normie is on the edge, but yeah. What's AF? America First. It's a Nazi thing. That's Nazis. Like anytime you guys see that in AF, okay, I have an example right now that a bunch of motherfuckers fell for. Okay. Everyone's seeing that guy that was on the Mehdi Hassan being like, oh, he lost his job. He did all this. Why does anybody believe that? The only people posting that are his Nazi friends. They're the ones that broke the news, probably just to make money for him, to milk a bunch of fucking MAGA dumbasses who are fucking fascist boomers that just gave him a bunch of money because he lied, bro. He did not lose his job. I guarantee it. It was all a lie. The only people that fucking posted about it were him. They just got him a bunch of clout. He did not actually lose his job, you know? Yeah. He's a moron. Like I saw so many people posting like, "Oh, W for us. We got him fired from his job." And it's like a Nazi outlet reported on the Nazi losing his job. Yeah, I don't know about that one, dog. Right? You know what I mean? He was on Rumble 2 years ago, streamer. I called that shit. By the way, I called that shit the day that it had that, like the day the Mehdi Hassan thing came out. I said literally, you have to be. I was like, somebody in my Discord posted it. They posted like a screenshot of the AF people being like lost his job. I'm like, you know, that's a Nazi outlet. Like he didn't lose it. Like they're lying. You know? Yeah. I saw one of the content AI generated picture of mom and her kid, which was reference to the racist mom who called the black. Yeah, I saw that, doodle. Yeah. Evan fell for that one. You know how many people fell for that one? So many people, Ty. It's not only Evan. It was like everyone. It was literally like everybody. Like no one. It's kind of wild to me how that AF news or whatever, like it gets people. How do people not know that's just like a fucking Groiper thing? Like I feel like I'm not that tapped in to know that's a Groiper thing, but like the picture is like a black and white like American guy from the 1950s. Like what the fuck else would it be? You know? I mentioned it yesterday, but I did a bit dive into the online crypto Nazis, the meme Nazis, obsessed with real Agatha, Dr. Jacob calling each other Somalis. It's real weird. Also, Hollow Earth is a big meme with them. I don't know. Yeah. They were just successfully injecting themselves in the movement. It's so fucked. I agree. Using the acronym AF was very clever for them, just subtle enough to trick enough people. It gets so many people. I think people just don't think about what AF stands for and don't think beyond any given tweet. So there's no way they missed or the given tweet. Not to say it's right, but I can see how someone would miss it. Yeah, I agree. It's just like, I feel like if you're in this community, you should not miss that. It's just one of those things that it just takes 1 second to look into those people. I don't know. I guess a lot of people also think, here's a funny thing. A lot of people don't know Newswire is like Peter Thiel adjacent. Even though Newswire is really fast at doing stuff because you don't fuck with the bag, like Newswire is Peter Thiel adjacent. It's why they sometimes, not all the time, but they'll tweet stuff that is kind of sussy, you know? Oh, and also the one dude's TikTok I linked doesn't follow many people, but Justin Minks was one of them. I thought that's weird. That's so weird. I thought it meant as fuck. No, I looked for AF and I found I blocked them a year ago. Yeah.